hedgers are the sharp, like the clever money in the market. So they're net long in the market, and they have been net long. So I'll show you. So you can see this versus the S&P. So we show you year to date. You know, up. Let's do 3 years. So they slowly took off on this rally here, and then into the rally they were net short against everyone else. And then at this point here, at the lows, they slapped everything back on long, and through this entire rally, they've barely taken anything off. The riffraff, look, they were long into this, and then they went short at the bottom, and they took a bit off here, and then they've added back, and they're still short.
And that's cool as hell right there. That just confirms everything that I've been ranting about.
Yeah. I'll show you, and one more thing, that's just to bore you a little bit further. It's hedge funds. So this is another kind of like tell. So, they were massively long into here, and then they took it all off, and then so I think I've mentioned to some people, like, all the money's been on the sidelines, and for me, this was why the money was on the sidelines, and this is why I think we've had this big, massive rally here, because people, they've been forced to come in, and they've been forced to buy.
Hold that right there too. See, this is exactly what I've been preaching. That's cool as hell. You have some confirmation here. I've been looking at volume myself. It's just good to see other people's perspective, and that there is someone else in this market that has the confirmation that I do. I was saying, just looking at my volume analysis, they were on the sidelines through this whole thing. Yeah. And this is when they started getting in. And that looks like that's about pretty close, man. Really, they waited till the pullback. So here was that 3207.
Yeah.
We pulled back, the 3200. Yeah. This was that red week's high. Yeah. Right. And then we pulled back. That's when they really started getting in. So
that period in May and June when we were all getting frustrated with these moves up, Smash, and you kept saying that the big money is sitting on the sidelines, and we were getting a pullback, like a day's pullback, and we were all hoping we're going to get another 100 points or something, just like it happened in February. But Smash just kept saying, no, these bulls are just buying the dip. And then I think it was once we broke 3,000 or 31 or 3,200 or something. And we never got sort of a big or massive pullback that we were really hoping for. And even then, Smash kept saying, maybe now the big money, the hedge funds are coming in now. Now they're starting to buy. So both things. First, initially, that the big money is staying out, and this thing just kept moving up and up. And once we started having a bit of pullbacks, they never materialized into big pullbacks. And now it makes sense, because the money that was sitting out, those hedge funds, they started building positions on those levels of 3,000 and 3,200 and all that.
650 areas. I'm digging here if we can get that pullback. This area right here.
Yep.
That's what I would love to see. I would love to see it. We've got the week's low from the short-term calculation, which is here, like he's talking about. These are the long-term calculations. This area right here, and it sits on a weekly volume level. It sits on a breakdown candle on the weekly open from a gap close, which has already been closed, but it's a previous gap magnet from the downside. So this area right here, and then I talked about it in the meeting, I would love to take one here also. If this breaks though, there's some serious downside potential, and I'm not interested in anything until we get back down here and here. If this breaks, okay, that's it. I'm really not interested around this area. I'm more interested down here and here. The calculations here, we haven't seen this kind of extension on a weekly basis since the .com bubble. And I was showing that, and I calculated it right here. This extension right here was higher than the .com bubble. This is the highest extension this market has ever seen that I can find, percentage-wise, okay? And that makes sense because it's the biggest drop in stock market history, percentage-wise, in that amount of time. So it kind of makes sense. Now, the question is, but with all that in mind, this kind of extension, if you see after every extension comes the sell-off.
Yep.
After every one of those type extensions comes the sell-off, you know, and they call it the blow-off top, right? That's the common term we hear all the time. So my take on this is, if this is that, this is my zone, and it's the same that I do every time, man. Nothing's different for me. But to get that close daily under this, it could even be down here. Then the pop back up. This is when I got short last time.
Yep.
And, you know, I did catch a few small shorts in there, but I'm talking swing shorts, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
And,
so
and
I have
your volume, your annual volume analysis, right? That really, so any thoughts on that? And if you don't mind bringing up your volume profile again, and then maybe
Smash, I think to that point, man, is like if you remember back when you got that killer short after you, where in the coronavirus stuff, remember that you let it flush and then you let it come back up. What was interesting is you had that when it popped back up, it was hitting that old supply that was, you know, remember we were looking at the volume, like it flushed it and then it came back up. That's where you said you were going to get your short. There was a lot of volume over there. So the way I look at that, I agree 100% with what you said. And I think it's going to be interesting is if we come up anywhere in this zone, because you have that previous week's right here, and then you have the this week's right here. So let's just say it's 350 average, right? All this volume in here. If we come up and test it, it's going to be a very similar situation. And I think that's going to be kind of a telltale sign, because anyone who didn't get out, like you said, they all got out, but there's inevitably some people that didn't get out. That turns into supply, man. I think that could be a very interesting, very similar scenario. Not saying it's going to fall apart like it did, but still for more sustained weakness. Yes.
Yeah, this is the short setup I talked about. I just did it on SPX. You see it? You know what the price is here? What did you just explain to me? So the high is 350.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Right, 350.72. Yep. So we closed here. We couldn't continue. A pop back to 350.72 is one of my favorite short setups in the world right there.
Exactly.
Right?
And that volume is
right that with your volume.
Yep.
And you just confirm that with
your man. Analysis. Right? Yep.
So I think there's even more evidence, you guys. 350.72. What's that?
I know. And I think that, dude, I mean, that's the perfect, like, you confirm it with that setup, you have a valid setup, and then you have confluence with the volume, and then we know we're extended. And sure, we can get the dip, but it's just like what you caught in the current. You never know. You never know if it's going to go back up, if it's going to go back down. But if you take that setup right there, that's one of the best, considering the extensions, that's one of the best risk to reward setups we could get. That'd be a gift to get it back up there, man.
It would. And that's what really important thing, I think, to really point out here is the rest of the market, the rest of the world is going to see it as, yep, the rally is on.
Yep.
Right? We're back in business.
Yep.
And it very well could be. So again, the buying the dip is still a good risk, really good risk reward, low risk trade, especially if you caught it. Like I said in my video, my week ahead, I've already got my positions. I don't like this 3,400. I really don't like it for a long now. The good buy was here. If you're going to swing, you got to catch that weakness. You got to catch that extension from on the 60-minute 9, right? You have to catch that into the calculated levels, in my opinion. 3,400, I don't like so much. Now, there could be a good day trade. We could catch 3,400, 340 to 350, right? We could catch a good $10 bounce, a good, $100 on SPX, right? But this short setup, just when it gets there, if it sets up intraday, I want everybody to really pay attention and it's a good risk reward, a very good risk reward. It's a low risk entry. Don't be afraid to take it, period. Exactly. Just like the dip buys. And so like for the video's sake, and Sean, I was, I kind of harassed him in one of the videos because he came in one day and he was saying, I wouldn't buy this trash. Don't buy this trash. It's just trash. And I asked him if he would, elaborate rather than just say things like that. And he was very kind, gracious. He did, right? He elaborated. He's not just talking trash anymore. Like, I think he was hanging out with small cap guys all day, huh, Sean? But my point here in all this is like, this dip buy was a good risk reward. My calculations said that was a good dip buy. We were extended from the 60, right? It worked. Why am I getting short here? Because it's a great setup. Not only is it a great short setup, but we have calculations and we have volume confirmation, conference right here, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so that's why. So I just want to really drive that home for the rest of the week. Just really quick, like we talked about, 350, 3,500. If we approach that again, that's a beautiful short setup. We're going to be looking for the VIX to be low, right? We're going to be looking for the VIX to be pulling back. If that VIX is down there around 20 again, if that happens and we get this rally next week into 3,500 and the VIX is down to 20, that's even a more reason to take the short.
Yes. Perfect.
Take a freaking short. Don't be afraid to take the short. It's okay to be long and be taking profits, but don't not take the short, because that explosive VIX intraday, along with the puts, those are the best paydays you'll ever see. And that's how you blow freaking small accounts through the roof, you know?